My number one pass catcher in this year's draft is a really easy one. Let's not overthink it. We've known he was going to be the best pass catcher in this draft for a long time. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. There's a reason he won the Biletnikoff Award. Probably should have won it 2 years in a row. There's a reason he's a two-time All-American. By the way, the only two-time All-American wide receiver in Ohio State history. That's saying something with the players that have come through that building. He is as good as they come. Physically, he's way bigger than you would expect. He's 6'4", all of 205, probably a little bit more. He's fast. I think he's faster than people realize. He runs terrific routes. He's a technician in a lot of ways, understands the game, and is a tireless worker. And in fact, every time that I've been to Ohio State, and it's a lot, as you know, I do a lot of Michigan, I do a lot of Ohio State with our contracts at Fox. Every time that I'm there and I'm in that building, every single time after practice, he's on the field every time, after practice, catching footballs off the jugs gun. Every single time. Whether he was nursing an ankle injury or he was fully healthy, whether it was spring or whether it was summer, whether it was the fall in the first week or if it was before the Michigan game. The guy is a tireless worker. He understands that his goal is not to just be a good player at the college level. Ever since I first met him and we sat with him in that building, ever since I first laid eyes on him, every time I've talked to any coach or teammate of his, they all say the same thing. His standard is greatness. His standard. That's what he's chasing. That's what he's chasing. And granted, I mean, that's where he comes from. That's where he comes from. He's as good as they come. He's the best wide receiver in the draft. He's the best pass catcher in the draft, and we've known that for quite some time. I just don't buy this conversation that this list needs to change because we've known this for a long time. I said this last week when talking about the quarterbacks, in particular with Caleb Williams at the top. Let's not get bored with these guys that we've known for a long time are going to be in this position. Just because they've been in this position for a long time doesn't mean that we've got to start poking holes and chasing ghosts about their game. All right. And Harrison is one of those guys. This guy, he's going to be a great player. He's going to be an All-Pro. He's going to be a 10-time Pro Bowler if he stays healthy. He goes to the right spot and it's on. It's on. Now, I've got him to Arizona early in this draft. Is that a great spot? I'm not sure. But one thing I do know is that this guy is a great player. Let's go to number 2, and I think this one's more interesting. And it goes right in line with what I was just talking about not getting bored and not chasing ghosts. And I sense a lot of people in this industry and around this draft chasing ghosts as it relates to this particular pass catcher. And you will understand why I named this the pass catcher list and not a wide receiver list because of number 2, Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is a phenomenal player. And he plays a position that is highly valuable. And I know that's not all that of a popular take. It's not that popular of a take. In fact, I think what you're going to hear a lot during this process is about the devaluing of the tight end position. About like, this is why Bowers shouldn't be this or that as it relates to his ranking on a big board or where he goes in the first round. Brock Bowers impacts the game every time he's on the field. Whether it's third down, whether it's red zone, this guy is an impact player. He's fast. He's a matchup nightmare. And he plays a position that is highly valuable. Do not let anybody tell you that the tight end is a devalued position. How do I know this? Well, one, I was on the field. I know what it feels like when you've got a tight end that can occupy the middle of the field. It's an important role. And it's an important role even at the top end in football. Look at the teams that have won Super Bowls in the last, 8 years. Look at the last 8 Super Bowl winners. Here's what you'll see. You're going to see teams that had somebody that was an incredible middle of the field player. occupier, playmaker, production player in that space. You go back. Here's the last 8 Super Bowls. Kelsey twice, best tight end in football. Cooper Kupp for the Rams. You had Gronk in there. Kelsey again. Gronk again. Zach Ertz led the Eagles in receiving that year, and Gronk again. Here's what you don't see, and this is not a devaluing of the wide receiver position either, but you don't see like CeeDee Lamb and Des Bryant and Jamar Chase and Odell Beckham. You don't see that. Now, there is a place for great wide receivers, certainly, because they can turn an 11-11 matchup into a one-on-one very quickly. And if they can beat and win and be efficient in that one-on-one, they are incredibly valuable, which we all know. And I think that that's kind of inherent to how we understand football. What we don't inherently understand, I think, on average, is the value of the tight end. But when you look at it like that, look at the Super Bowl winners. What do they all have? Someone that can occupy the middle of the field. And not just occupy the middle of the field. I'm not talking about just routes, running people off. I'm talking about great production players, high production players. Kelsey might be one of the best tight ends ever. Gronk may be one of the best postseason tight ends ever. One of the great mismatch, players in history. Ertz led the Eagles in receiving. Kupp was a production savant in a lot of ways. And the reason why it's so important is that when you get into critical situations in this sport, it can't always just be a one-on-one, because that can be a 50-50 proposition. You hear like, well, he wins the 50-50 situation. Well, as an offense, I don't want to be in a 50-50 situation. I don't. What do I want to do? I want to put the odds in my favor. And I can do that by having a player that can occupy the middle of the field. It changes and manipulates coverage. And it also, in a tight end's case, forces the defense to make a decision about how they're going to match up from a personnel standpoint and a schematic standpoint, depending on how many tight ends you have on the field. There's a reason why Andy Reid in this last Super Bowl, went to 12 personnel to win the game down low. Okay. And there's been some great social media about the actual play call and the personnel group. He went to 2 tight ends because he was inviting a very certain look from the San Francisco 49ers so that they would be thinking about this condensed formation where the Chiefs like to run middle screens, shuttle passes, all of these different things. Okay, so you get the focus of a defense in one area, and then you can move into another. So then they have the little yo-yo motion, and they run the corn dog right there, and guess what? Guess why that works? Guess why that works? It's not just because of the motion. It's not just the schematics. It's also because the guy that was now the number 1 player on that right side was Travis Kelce, a great tight end. So Brock Bowers has high value as a tight end. Okay? Don't let people tell you otherwise. If he falls into the middle of the first round, that's a mistake. That is a mistake. I will be pounding the table on night 1 as I'm covering the draft for the NFL Network. I'll be there with Rich Eisen and Daniel Jeremiah and Charles Davis, night 1, night 2 in Detroit, and I'll be pounding the table. Somebody take Brock Bowers. I don't think he gets past Jim Harbaugh at 5. I think the Chargers, and in particular Jim Harbaugh, understand the value of not just the tight end, but of this tight end. Okay, so it's not just about being the best tight end in the draft. It's about being this guy. And Brock Bowers is that guy. This is one of the best college tight ends that I've seen in a long time. 175 catches and over 2,500 yards with 26 touchdowns in his 3 seasons at Georgia. He went 10 for 139 against Alabama as a freshman in the SEC championship game. He had the huge play against Ohio State. They don't beat Ohio State in their second national championship year in the, the Peach Bowl, I believe it was, in the semifinal, unless he makes that incredible extension for the first down along the sidelines. His ability after the catch rivals any of these wide receivers on the outside. This guy is phenomenal. Phenomenal. He also, by the way, had 7 for 152 and a touchdown against TCU. He's 6'4", 240 pounds. He's physical. He's fast. He catches the ball beautifully and smooth, and he plays a position that I value very much. Why? Because that's who wins championships. Teams that have players like Brock Bowers. The last 8 Super Bowl winners had a highly productive mainstay in the middle of the field, a great tight end or a great slot receiver. And only one of them was a receiver, Cooper Kupp. All the others had a great tight end, a great tight end. A lot of them all-time tight ends, a lot of them Pro Bowl tight ends, all-pro tight ends, Kelsey, Gronk, Ertz. How is Bowers being undervalued right now? This guy is insanely talented, and he should be taken early in this draft. First tight end to win the Mackey twice, and he deserved it. He deserved it. This guy is phenomenal. Pounding the table right now for Brock Bowers. Thank you for watching the Joel Klatt Show YouTube channel. And if you liked this clip, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel, and you can stay up to date on all of my college football coverage.